What's up? How you doing? Here we are. Beautiful night. Beautiful night. Another day has evaporated, and pretty soon we're gonna go to bed. And brand new day tomorrow. Fresh water. Delicious. So this book, Catcher in the Rye, I've talked about it before. Interesting book. Interesting history of events that happened as a result of this book. I read it, I don't know, decades ago. And back then I was wondering, what's the big deal? Why did the guy read this and kill John Lennon? What about Hinckley? Mark David Chapman is the other guy, but Hinckley also read this and shot Reagan. And then when you read it, you start to understand the problem. And 99.99994% of the people that read this book will never kill, but there are people that get influenced, and the whole thing is about people being phonies. And the character in here is very annoyed by that. And I guess if you read this and you feel the same way about society, about people, gets on your nerves, you may try something, but safe book. Most people, like I said, that read this do not have any intention of going out and harming anyone. J.D. Salinger. Soft G like giraffe. But I recommend this book. It's very interesting. It's even referenced in Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire" song, Catcher in the Rye. Peaceful night. So I have a game here that was popular when I was a kid. And I'm going to try it, not tonight, but, this is very, very interesting, game. It's not even a game. Nobody wins. Brand new. Has the instructions, and then it has in here the different wheels that go inside this, and then you have the pens. But whoever came up with this must have been a mathematician. It's kind of like the universe. Put it there. I will try it tomorrow. Speaking of the universe, I was watching something last night. It's one of those things that this is just guesswork. Nobody knows. When they make these kind of videos, nobody knows. So take it with a grain of salt. Big one. But they were saying when the universe, or if the universe comes to an end, what would happen eventually? This is like, I think, hundreds of trillions of years from now. Everything would break down, including the final. I think the protons would break down last. And then what would be left, once everything decays and breaks down into nothingness, would be a void. Big hole. Big, gigantic opening. And at that point, it would make my thinking that I used to do, well, I still do it, but when I used to do it early on in life, about what if there was nothing? But in this case, there would be something, empty space, but nothing else. It would be vacant, but empty. But when I was a kid, I would always think about what if there was nothing, including empty space, no empty space. But see, that's the thing. That doesn't seem like a possibility. I just can't imagine what that would be. It would be nothing, but Anyway, so I don't think the universe ends. I think if it, comes to the point where things start going out, like all the stars, they start dying off. I think the universe has to have a recycling ability where things come together again, and then it's like a reborn, a rebirth. Because I can't see reality being only once and then vanishing and never existing again. Because then it would be like my imagination used to think of when I was little, about what if there was nothing. So I think the universe is so big that while one section dies off, another section is coming into being from I don't want to say scratch, because it makes it sound like something from nothing. But we think in a certain way, so our brains can't comprehend something from nothing, and it's probably not something from nothing. But nobody really knows where matter, antimatter, all of that, where that comes from. Nobody knows. I'm not talking about ancient stories. I'm talking about in reality, nobody knows where all that stuff comes from. Like I look up now and you'll see a few stars, maybe Jupiter. But if you really want to see something amazing, you have to go out to the Mojave right about now. And it's just mind-blowing. I was down in was it Rancho, what's it called down there, Barango Springs. It was a couple of years back, and we rented a little place there, and I stepped out in the middle of the night, and I looked up, and it was amazing. It was like star. It was like just overwhelming amount of stars, and that's only a small section of the sky. I mean, it's not that many either, like 3,000 stars. Looks like a lot more, but it's not. And that is a small fraction of the billions of stars that are in our galaxy. You only see a little window, but it's just mind-blowing. The whole existence, the whole reality that we live in, people existing, animals. It's weird. I see people walking around and I go, wow, we're here, so it doesn't seem as amazing. But if we were a different species living a billion light years from here, and somebody explained this place to us, it would be mind-blowing. Yep. You never know when you need to cut something. I haven't noticed any in a while, but years ago, trash night, I'd gather all the stuff up, and I'd walk around the backyard, and I'd find, a bunch of, no, you don't know, I'm telling you, but you'd find a bunch of black widow spiders hanging around ankle height. And I've been around, I haven't seen any, so I don't know if I've sent a message, don't set up camp in this yard. But yeah, I used to see a lot of them. And to this day, I've never been stung. I don't know if bitten is the right word. I don't know if the spider actually bites you. I think they sting you. But have not been stung yet. And I hope that continues, because I feel like it's going to be aggravating. Stomach aches and nausea and all that. I have gotten stung by bees, and I've gotten stung by a spider. When I was in the 5th grade, we took a nature walk with my class. The school where I went back then had a forest in the back, and my teacher decided, I guess he didn't feel like teaching that day, so he said, let's take a nature walk. So we went through this forest, And as I'm walking, it was springtime, I looked down and I saw a good-sized spider on the ground, and it was a little bit hairy. And of course, not knowing, I went to pet it. And as I went to touch it on the back, I don't know how it spun around that quickly, but it stung me, stung my index finger, this one here. And it was a weird sensation. It was almost like, what I can compare it to is when you get a cut and you dip it in rubbing alcohol. Kind of like that, but a bit more intense and unrelenting. I mean, at least alcohol, if you blow on your finger, that feeling, that stinging sensation subsides. But this thing, the venom or whatever that was, went inside me, and it was like stinging inside my finger. So, taught me a lesson: do not pet spiders. Unnecessary. Yeah, you can't, you know, grab on insects. They will sting you. But anyway, I have not been stung by a black widow. Need to sharpen this knife a little bit. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was in Maine, and I found a knife. I was cutting a piece of bread, and the knife was smooth like this one. And up until that time, I thought only serrated edges cut. I thought the other ones were like butter knives or something. They didn't really cut. So as I'm you know, cutting, I was not being careful, and I went over my index finger on this side, and I cut into it. And when you look at it at this angle, you could see a little bit of a scar there. And that happened when I was probably, I want to say, about 7 or 8 years old. And I still remember it because it left an impression on me. But this one definitely needs a little bit of sharpening. It's a Dexter. I recommend these knives. Good solid knives, not that expensive, you know, but they cut when they're sharp. They're very, very good. This one is sharp already. You know, I could take a thumb off, no problem. I want to mention one of my favorite dreams that I have, and in this dream, it takes place, it feels like it's around springtime or early fall in the dream, and it's a feel-good dream. It makes you, you know, feeling a well-being type of a dream. But I'm in my car and I'm in the city, and then I'm driving, and all of a sudden I end up, it's quiet, like a country road, has big properties on both sides with picket fences and, you know, countryish. And it's just me driving my motor car, keep going and going, and about 2 hours out, that's what the dream says, it's about 2 hours away, I end up in the middle. It's like a forest, and in the middle of the forest is a parking lot, and in the middle of the parking lot is a brown, I think it's like a 5-story structure, brown brick building. And I park, I don't know, if like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 feet from the building, even though there's like maybe 3 cars in the entire parking lot. Come on, go home. Mama's boy going home, get a little kiss on the cheek. So anyway, I park my car about 1,000 feet back, and I walk, but it's misty out. It's got, you know, it's foggy, and this place is a 24-hour, like a warehouse, but it's also like a Bass Pro Shop. And each floor has its specialty. One floor is like for hunting, then you have fishing, then you have like hardware, like you know, like a Lowe's. And I go in this place, and the dream takes place in a time where it's not common to have stores open 24/7. It's very rare. So in the dream, it seems like it's something special. So I go in there and I'm looking around, and I'm in the camping section usually. That's where my dream puts me. So a few times I go hardware too, but mostly when I have this dream, I'm in the camping section. And there's sometimes there's a family in there too. You know, I don't know. I put them in there, make it more family friendly. The dream, and then sometimes I buy something, sometimes I don't. But I never drive back. I wake up, like I'll be going down the stairs to leave, and then I wake up morning time. And another dream I have that is similar in style. So I get in my car, and this time I could be with my father, I could be my mother, my parents, you know, it could be a bunch of family, you know. So I end up in an area that seems to be like Maine or something, but it's very countryish. I know Maine's not country, but you know, it's rural. And I park down below, and there's a long road. It's like a dirt road. No cars on it, it's just pedestrians, but it's wide. It's probably the size of what a normal road would be, but double that. And it's kind of like mama papa stores on both sides. About a half mile long is the road, and they're all interesting stores, and still the same style as a Bass Pro Shop, most of them. So I walk up and down, and I find all these interesting little stores that I go into, and they all have nice stuff, you know. And even that dream, I never return. I always end up waking up in that area. But you know, those dreams give you a feeling of well-being. They're like Amazon stores, kind of like anything you want, anything my mind wants, there's a store that pops up with that merchandise in it. So yeah, they say you dream every night, but you don't remember them every night. I dream quite often. You know, and if you really want to have an exciting dream, I always look for like different foods that'll trigger it, but so far I've not been able to identify anything that triggers nightmares. They say, you know, don't eat chocolate at night, you'll get a nightmare. Now, it does not work for me. I eat chocolate at night all the time. You know, nice dark chocolate, 76% cacao. And I never noticed. I say, oh, well, I had dark chocolate and I had a really crazy dream. I had a nightmare. No, they're random. They're random. The good thing about nightmares is that while you're going into this state of fear in your dream, you wake up eventually and you realize, oh, that was just a dream. Where in reality, if something like that happens to you, you can't escape it. I'm going to go inside for a second. I got a chocolate bar I'm going to bring out. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Got some chocolate. This is milk chocolate. It's not the dark stuff, but still good. Very good chocolate. I was surprised. I mean, you buy it, it looks like a cartoon chocolate bar, the colors and everything, and then you taste it and say pretty good chocolate. It's very very good. So Belgium, made in Belgium. It's not bad. I mean, it's 32% cacao. It's not bad. But if you ever see this brand, Tony's, pick it up. Now Let's see what it says. Let's see what the directions say here. 6 servings. I've eaten one of these no problem in probably 20 minutes. I could probably eat it faster, but so anyway, this has 6 servings, which means if you eat this whole thing, that's 18 grams of protein in here. Each serving is 170 calories. So like over 1,000 calories for one of these things. It's like a meal. Yeah, my daughter bought this one time about a year ago, and she goes, "Hey, you want to try a little bit?" And I said, "Sure." And when I had it, I was very surprised at how good it was and is. You open it up, you get the tin foil on the inside, and then inside here they have more information. Very good. Got some more information here I'm going to share. Best Buy date, which I always appreciate. I hate grabbing something and it has no date on it that you could find. I mean, I'm sure it's somewhere hidden because I think by law they have to have a date on there. But I like it when it's nice and big that you see it immediately. And this one, Best Buy, is January 30th, 2025. I mean, I just got this. But yeah, I love Best Buy dates. I feel safe. You know, I know a lot of them are, I mean, they have Best Buy on honey, and we know honey can last forever. They found honey in the pyramids in Egypt, and it was still good, thousands of years old. We open it up nice and slow. Look at that. It's hazelnut inside. Delicious. I could finish this no problem, but 1,000 calories. I have a funny story about chocolate. That is too good. Too good. Wow. Like I said, I highly recommend it. So, I have a funny chocolate story. This is a true story. So my father had a cousin, and I guess one day, I think he had constipation. Couldn't go. And I was little back then, but he was telling my father this. And my father, he knew a remedy, X-Lax. And he said to him, go buy some X-Lax. He goes, they sell in the pharmacy, and then, have some of it, and, you'll be able to go. So he went to the pharmacy, he got the X-Lax, and he opened it up, and right in front of my father, he started eating it like it was a chocolate bar, the whole thing. And I think you're supposed to take one rectangle, like some little portion of it, and you eat it, and that's all. But he ate the whole thing. And then, like, I don't know how long it takes, an hour, it kicked in, and he basically moved his bed into the bathroom. That's how frequently he was going. And my father said to him, nobody told you not to read the directions. You don't eat the whole thing. It's like buying a bottle of Tylenol and having a headache and taking the whole bottle. And I knew somebody who did the aspirin thing like that. They had heard back in those days that aspirin was good as a blood thinner. So if you had heart issues, it would thin out your blood, and then it would lower your risk of heart attacks. But they recommend that with 81 milligrams. It's like a baby aspirin. If you get like St. Joseph's aspirin, that's about 81 milligrams. So he heard this, and he goes, oh, well, I'm older. He probably was thinking in his head, why don't I take some aspirin and prevent a heart attack? So he started taking an aspirin, and then he would take a couple, and then before he knew it, he was taking a few every hour. And, he thought it was like, Flintstones vitamins or something. And even those, if you take too many, you're going to get cramps. And so he did this for a while until he created a hole in his stomach, like an ulcer, and he started bleeding from everywhere, nose, mouth, backside, and he almost bled to death. Brought him to a hospital, and they saved him. They cauterized the opening in his stomach, and that explained, what he had done, because he told me when he was in that condition, he thought maybe he was having a stroke, but he was talking, coherently. And I said, I don't think it's a stroke. I go, have you done something else? And then he told me that he was taking aspirin. He finished a whole bottle of aspirin in like 24 hours. So I told him at the hospital what had happened, and then they were able to put him back together again like Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, aspirin. If you take an aspirin, 325 milligram aspirin, and put it in between your cheek and your gum, and you let it sit there for a while, it'll like open up like an acid hole. You'll get all sensitive there. It's like taking ascorbic acid and keeping the ascorbic acid there for hours. And I have a story about ascorbic acid. So many years ago, I was still in my teens. That's how many years ago that was. I said, you know what, I'm going to take a vitamin C, ascorbic acid. And I didn't feel like getting up for water. So I don't know if I took a couple of them, but they were 1,000 milligrams each. I swallowed them, and I said, just go to sleep, I don't need water. And they didn't go down. They sat somewhere in this area. And they sat there all night, and the ascorbic acid was just sitting on my esophagus. And next day I woke up, and I could feel, like when I would swallow, it felt like rocks were going down. It's like I was eating gravel. So went to breakfast, and every time I would swallow, it felt like the food was like made out of like granite material with sandpaper on the sides going down. And that lasted about a week or so. And I said, yeah, that's not a good idea. Get your ass up and get water next time when you take vitamin C. So that's what happened. You got to read the directions. The directions are there for a reason, I mean, some things you can get away with, you know, like if you take a little bit extra of something, you know, like turmeric, curcumin, things like that, you could probably get away with taking a little bit more. But aspirin, no, you got to follow the directions. Vitamin C, it's acidic. You got to take it on a full stomach. Otherwise, if it sits in your belly on an empty stomach, eventually you'll irritate that spot. You could get an ulcer. Even though ulcers, the normal ulcers, are caused by a virus or bacteria. Yeah. H. pylori. Bacteria. I know that because anybody who has that, they give them antibiotics. So good. Nice night. I was reading about Muhammad Ali, and I didn't know this. I mean, I've known this for a while now, but I don't think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm about 94% sure that he never changed his name legally to Muhammad Ali. I think that was like a stage name almost. Not quite a stage name, but you know, some people, you know them by a name, but they never legally changed it. I think Jack Lord was like that. Jack Lord, that was his stage name. You know, that was not his real name on his documents. But one thing I never understood about that, I think his name was John Ryan, right? Legal name. But I have part of the memorabilia. I have a check that Jack Lord gave a cleaners here, not too far from here, way back in the 60s, dry cleaners. And he wrote a check out and he signed it. Clearly says Jack Lord, the signature, but on top where you put your name, it says Jack Lord, even though that was not his legal name. That was a stage name. And I'm not sure if in those days the bank allowed you to put an alias on a check. I don't think they allow that now. Plus, checks are not really that popular anymore. Very few people take checks. You know, like maybe if you have I don't know, a gardener or something, you know, something like that, they take a check. But if you go shopping, who are these people that go shopping? They pull out the checkbook. You know, I was shopping not too long ago, and some lady in front of me had a ton of stuff, and I was like two people behind her, and she pulls out a check, and I could feel the line. I could feel the morale went down, just went down to a low level. And she was writing it extra slow, and I'm like, can you just fill that up and hand it in? A check? What is this, the 70s? I was thinking, you know, in my head. I was thinking in my head that I have not written a check ever in my life to buy groceries, ever. I'm telling you, this chocolate is really good. I'm going to show you again what I mean. Went to Hawaii not too long ago, and I was eating all the chocolate there. Had some good brands. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll probably go and play this.